All right. Well, welcome back, everyone. Today was definitely an unexpected day that we had in the Bitcoin miners. But I should really say Bitcoin AI miners now, right? So we're kind of expecting something good news from Cipher, especially as they were reporting their quarterly results today in the morning. But we got a great deal from them, right? Cipher got a deal with AWS, Amazon Web Services there. That's a 15-year deal for them. That's huge for them. And then we also had Iren report today, which I was not expecting. I thought if they were going to report something, they would report it later on this week when they do their quarterly results. But they came out with a deal with Microsoft, which kind of shocked everybody there today. We were hoping for a deal, something like that, and we did get it. So we'll talk about it. We'll look at the press release, obviously, for them, along with Cipher. We'll take a look at also their presentation decks as well for those things. So we'll go through all those details. I do have updated price targets for Iren as well, along with Cipher here, based on the current deals that they do have in place for next year that will be generating revenue for them. We also have a lot of price upgrades for Iren today. I didn't see really any for Cipher unless I missed it today. We do have one for Cleanspark as well. And then what else do we have here? I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we do. Kango reported also their production updates for October. So we have a lot to go through today. So today was a wild day. Miners were up huge for the most part in the morning, pulled back during the day. Bitcoin was coming down as well. Market shenanigans are still in play here. I think a lot of short sellers were probably trying to bring things down to where they could actually sell at that point for like Iren and Cipher especially. But yeah, we got a lot to get through here today, so it's going to be a long stream, unfortunately, but we have a lot. But as always, you guys know, non-financial advice for time only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. As always, hit the like button, subscribe if you could. Helps me out tremendously here. And let's take a look at what happened today with the markets in general, where the miners are right now. Also, how do they trade and things like that. All right, so Bitcoin today, for whatever reason today, it was not a great day for Bitcoin. It was down quite a bit. It was down like almost 4% here at one point, but it finished out being down 3.6%. So we closed at 106,557 there. It's up on the new day a little bit here. I'm not sure. I mean, there was nothing really that kind of spooked the market. I don't know if the market's waiting for job results. I saw that as being one of the possibilities there for it. I don't know. Overall, the markets were in the green, half and half. Dow Jones was down a little bit. NASDAQ was up. S&P was up. Russell was down a little bit here. Ethereum was also down quite a bit today. Also, this one was down 7.76% here. So that didn't bode well. But I don't know what it was, whether it's just a little hangover from the options expirations on Friday that we saw here, or what's going on there. People are just trying to dump it down as much as they can and then rise it back up here into the end of the month. We'll see, right? We don't know. Miners overall had a really good day today. They were up much higher during the day, and then especially in the morning hours. Then they kind of pulled back throughout the day, especially into the close as well. We kind of got a little bounce in the close, but not much. But Bitfarms ended up being up 3.53%. It was actually down in the red for a portion of the day. BitTier was up 2.93. Kango was down 6.98% there. This thing has continued to slide down here over time. Cipher was up nicely today. It was up 22.04% at the close. It was up to a high of $25.11, which was like 30-some% at that point. Cleanspark actually ended out being down in the red today, being down 2.13% after being up like 5, 6, 7% at one point during the day, and then it pulled back. CORZ was up 6.31%. This one got to a high of 23.63 and closed at 22.90 there. Hive was up also 3.46. Hut 8 was up 8.57%. Iren was up, finished out the day 11.52%, but at one point was up like 23% on the day in the morning hours and then pulled back down. Mara was down 2.52%. Riot was up 4.75%. Wolf was up 3.87%. So a lot of the miners here benefited from, obviously, the deals that were announced by Cipher and by Iren, obviously. MicroStrategy, as far as the Bitcoin hodlers there, was down 1.8%. Galaxy was down 0.06%. Block was down 2.16%. Coin was down 3.89%. Metaplan was down 5.09%. Exodus was up 2.86%. Nexon was up 6.7% here for some reason. I'm not sure. Maybe because of earnings coming up here. Maybe. I'm not sure. Similar was down 3.97%. Phoenix was up 7.65%. GameStop was down 0.81%. Small miners today. How did they do? Well, most of those were in the red here. It seems like Any was down 3.54%. Argo was down 5.15%. DigiPower was up another 4.13% after getting to 678. And then it came down a little bit. DMG was up 3.64%. Mawson was flat basically on the day here. It was up higher, then it came back down. Canon was down another 9.09% there. Bitcoin miner ETFs here had overall a pretty good day. BitQ being up 2.52%, BKCH 3.18%, DAP 1.32%, WGMI 7.09%. Ethereum holding companies here had a pretty rough day. BMNR was down 8.12%. Bit Digital was down 6.56%. BTCS was down 8.85%. Game was down 7.95%. SBET was down 5.42% there. And some of the other companies that we track here, Wi-Fi or American BTC was down 3.34%. Wi-Fi was down 4.03%. Open was down 2.32%. Oracle was even down 1.81%. Nibius was down quite a bit, 7.91% there. Backed was down 2.86%. Fermi was actually up 6.64%. So that one's kind of bouncing back up a little bit here as well. And then we saw Google being up, Amazon, Microsoft being down actually. Okay, so that's how the markets have played out today. A little strange. Nonetheless, here, BitDeer after hours right now is down 0.44%. Bitfarms, see if this loads up, is up 1.22%. Cipher is right now down actually 3.12%, so 3.08%. So a little profit taking happening on that one. That one's had a nice run up here. Cleanspark is down a little bit, down 0.57%. CORZ Scientific is down 0.87%. Hive, let's take a look at that one really quick as well, is down 0.93% down. Hut 8 is, let's see where that one comes in at, is actually up now 1.51%. Iren here's, last time I checked it was down. Now it's up actually. Oh, it's back down. Definitely a battle happening on that one right now. Let's see where it ends up at. Come on. Okay, a lot of trades happening on this one. It's positive, it's negative, it's positive, it's negative. Let's see where it ends up at. Okay, so it's just down 0.01% right now. Not much at all. Mara here is up 0.28%, and Riot is down 0.63%. And lastly, TeraWolf here is right now pre-market down 2.17%. Okay, Bitcoin for the month of November is down 2.38%. Not a great start for us, but we're early, so maybe that will change later on for us. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Bitcoin ETF inflows here as well. If we look at those, we had, well, nobody's reported here recently. So we'll have to wait on that for maybe tomorrow to find out what actually happened there on that one. All right, some of the good news stories that we do have here. Price targets, increases, and all that stuff here. Cleanspark. This is from Ernest Hamilton. Another price target update for Cleanspark. New Bernstein from $20 to $24. All right, that's kind of on the lower end of things where I think they should be. I think they should be somewhere between $25 and $35. That's on the lower end of those things. And we got Recap McGuire is at $30 for Cleanspark. Clear Street is $30. Cantor $24. HC Wainwright is $30. So that's kind of in the middle of where I have them. So I would think that would be a fair price there. So we still have a ways to go with Cleanspark. Cleanspark obviously didn't do too well today. We got this from Mike Alfred here. Cipher CEO Tyler Page. I've never seen anything like this in my 25-year career. The demand is off the charts and only seems to be getting more off the charts. That is very, very bullish for the space, for the miners, and everything else that we are obviously tracking here. So that's great news to hear on that they are seeing such huge demand, which is also what we're seeing here, right? We had Satya Nadella from Microsoft talk about how they have GPUs, but they have nowhere to plug them in, right? So it's great to see that they partnered with Iren there, did a nice deal for 5 years with them. And then obviously Iren did a deal with Dell to provide all the servers, GPUs, and things like that to build that out for Microsoft there. So we'll talk about that here in a second. Next here we got this one. I already talked about that one. So that's a duplicate. Let's see here. Next one. Okay, Iren, price target raised to $94 from $82 at Roth Capital. The company's Microsoft deal at Childress brings a level of credibility the firm believes investors were looking for, and the firm thinks this is an initial first step for hyperscaler AI cloud data center deals that probably has more legs to it. The analysis tells investors in a research note, yes, I bought more Iren today from Moon here. So great news there, right? Price targets are increasing. I think it's still low on the lower end side of things for $94. We'll look at my spreadsheet when we get to it, and I'll show you guys what I mean by that. Next here, we got, let's see, breaking down Roberts, Iren CEO. Iren is expected to generate $3.5 billion to $3.4 billion in revenue in 2026. This also includes their Bitcoin mining side of things as well, which is about a little less than $1 billion right now. Number of analysts are saying we need 45 gigawatts of new data centers by 2028. We've got 3 gigawatts. OMG, that's 6.6% of the projected total addressable market there. And we'll take a quick listen to this. It's 3.5 minutes long from the conversation that Dan had on Fox News here. And let's see what he had to say here. A lot of good stuff.
Congratulations. A huge deal. Explain to the audience the details of the deal.
No, thanks, Charles. It was a big weekend. So it's a 5-year contract between Iren and Microsoft to deliver 200 megawatts of GPUs for the purpose of AI cloud. So $9.7 billion over the 5 years, $2 billion in annualized revenue for delivery through to the end of 2026.
Dan, how's this going to impact your bottom line?
Well, look, as I said, $2 billion of annualized revenue will drop straight to the bottom line. There'll be some costs against that. We've guided towards 85% as a project EBITDA margin, so majority of that cash will flow through to the bottom line. That's in addition to a Bitcoin mining business generating around $800 million of revenue and another set of GPUs, about 23,000, delivering an AI cloud service, which we've guided to around 500 million in revenue. So 3.5 to 4 billion of revenue.
Of course, at the same time, you're building out, to accommodate these deals. I know you signed a deal with Dell. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so Dell's been a great partner for us to date, and they worked all through the weekend as well to make this happen. So we really appreciate the support from Michael, and they're going to be procuring and installing the GPUs for us.
I want to talk about, I don't know, the epiphany, for lack of a better word, the sort of transitioning from Bitcoin mining to this, to this AI opportunity, which obviously is absolutely phenomenal. Walk us through it and how much further you think it has to go.
Look, when Will, my brother, and I set this business up 7 years ago, fundamentally at the heart of it, we said the real world cannot keep pace with the digital world. The digital world has all these exponential demand drivers, adoption curves that go from 0 to 1, whether it's Bitcoin being nothing 15 years ago to a $2 trillion asset today, whether it's AI being confined to the hallways of PhD conversations 2 years ago to the latest humanity-defining technology. And these adoption curves go from 0 to 1. And as we told people 7 years ago, you can't plug a toaster into a high voltage transmission line. You can't plug a computer into a high voltage transmission line. These development projects take years and years and years to unfold. So our whole vision was the world was going to need a lot of compute. What it was for, we didn't know, but we set about building a very large portfolio of data center projects and sites and designing our own proprietary high performance data centers.
It's just amazing foresight. I got less than a minute to go. Of course, you've attracted an enormous investor fan base. Some would call it a cult base, really. But now also Wall Street's climbing on board. Last month, Cantor Fitzgerald put a $100 target on you. B. Riley raised their target from 29 to 74. You've got this platform. A lot of folks watch this show, own your stock. They're obviously thrilled. What would you like to tell your loyal shareholders?
Look, we appreciate the support. They've been with us through a fair ride. But at the end of the day, when you step back, number of analysts are saying we need 45 gigawatts of new data centers by 2028. That's the shortfall. And within Iren, we've got 3 gigawatts of that. So there's an enormous opportunity for that. Those investors have been on early, they've seen the opportunity, and we really appreciate their support.
Dan, again, congratulations on your foresight and also.
All right, so there you go. 40-some plus gigawatts needed for AI compute. They got 3 gigawatts of that. They are definitely in the right position, in the right place to be taking advantage of it. And we have been in this, well, I've been in Iren since last year, basically June, July, I think it was when I bought into Iren. I've been keeping an eye on them for a long time, since basically when they went public into 2022 and beyond that. And I'm happy that I got into it when I did last year, right? I saw the growth that they were having in Bitcoin mining, the megawatts they were going to have, everything else. And then luckily enough for us, the megawatts became more profitable or more wanted, more needed by AI, right? AI obviously came out of nowhere with ChatGPT, right? They kind of spurred everything else for us. And I mean, the race was on at that point, right? Google, XAI, Meta, Oracle, everybody and their uncle is trying to get into AI right now to put in as many GPUs as they can. And as a result of that, we are definitely greatly benefiting from that here going forward here. So that was great to hear from Dan, right? And the deal that they do have with Microsoft is only a small percentage of their total available megawatts going forward, right? They're building this out in Childress, where they still have Sweetwater 1 and 2, which is about 2 gigawatts of available. That's still a lot more potential for additional revenue streams being brought in. And I do apologize for my kids running upstairs. They're playing right now. If you hear the footsteps, that's what it is. It's my kids upstairs. All right, next here we got this. B. Riley raises Iren target to 74, right? We saw that during the press or the video call there. Cantor Fitzgerald lifts Iren to a target of $100, right? I think that's still pretty low. And then we got this also breaking Iren price target raised to $94 at Roth Capital. That's another one there. So we're getting close to that $100 range with a lot of these guys here. And we got this from Mike Alfred. Breaking Cantor Fitzgerald raises Iren price target to 142. Now we're talking. This is more in line with where I kind of see where they might be valued at right now. And we'll take a look at that here shortly here. And then when we actually go through the discussion here on Iren and their press release here. But first, we're going to go in alphabetical order with these guys here. We're going to go through Cipher first. And then we'll also get into Kango. I think Kango, let's do Kango first. Kango's actually in here. That's not it. I didn't want that. Did I get rid of Kango? I did get rid of Kango. Wow. Okay. Well then. All right. I'll pull that up here in a second. We'll do Cipher, then we'll do Kango. All right. So here's what we got. Cipher obviously reported their quarterly results today, along with the great news of getting a deal with Amazon there. So Cipher provides their third quarter 2025 business update here. Third quarter revenue rose to $72 million. Non-GAAP adjusted earnings was $41 million. Executed a 15-year data center campus lease with Amazon Web Services to support AI workloads. They also got another site there. They secured a majority ownership in a joint venture to develop 1 gigawatt site in West Texas. That adds on top of what they already had here. This was new to us. This was something that was not previously announced. We didn't know about this one. But here's what we have. Cipher today announced an approximately $5.5 billion 15-year lease agreement with Amazon Web Services to provide turnkey space and power for AI workloads. Under the terms of the lease agreement, Cipher will deliver 300 megawatts of capacity in 2026, including both air and liquid cooling to the racks. The capacity will be delivered in 2 phases, expected to begin in July 2026 and complete in the fourth quarter of 2026, with rent commencing in August 2026 there, okay? So that's not too far away. We're only about 8 months away from that beginning, right? So that's great to hear. In addition, Cipher today announced the formation of a joint entity to develop a 1 gigawatt site named Colichis. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. In West Texas, under the terms of the agreement, Cipher is expected to provide the majority of the financing, which would result in approximately 95% equity ownership, assuming standard lease and development terms in the future HPC lease. All right, so that's great there. At 95%, I would have wished that they would have just went in 100% in on by themselves. 5% there is not much, right? It's not a material amount, but it is what it is. But I would have liked to have seen them do 100% there. The Colichis site includes a fully executed 1 gigawatt direct connect agreement with American Electric Power, under which AEP will construct the necessary dual interconnection facility for targeted energization in 2028. So this is definitely a further way out, right? We're looking at 2 years out basically from there. Finance operations highlights here. So they executed obviously the 10-year AI hosting agreement with FluidStack and Google. Now they got the 15-year deal with Amazon Web Services and AI hosting contracts to represent approximately $8.5 billion in lease payments. Successfully completed $1.3 billion convertible note offering. Secured 95% ownership of the joint venture there in West Texas. And pipeline of 3.2 gigawatts of site capacity. Q3 net loss came in at $3 million, kind of where I was expecting to be more or less, roughly around there, which came in at a penny per share, basically, and adjusted earnings of $41 million or 10 cents per diluted share at that point. So net loss. Okay. Obviously, I listened to the conference call. The conference call was pretty long there. If you guys didn't take a listen to it, definitely listen to it. Tyler definitely sounded very, very optimistic and very, surprised not only by the amount of demand that they're seeing right now, which is good because that can translate to more revenue going forward, especially as they build out and things like that. Okay. So there's that. Here's the power deck that we do have, or the presentation deck for this presentation here. Business update, November 3rd. Amazon Web Services transaction overview, 300 megawatts, 5.5 billion, 15 years, right? Starting in August of 2026 here. New site, Colichis, is 1 gigawatt, 620 acres, total acreage under option there. So they're going to be building that out as well. Anticipated power consumption in 2028, pending ERCOT approval. Transaction includes land purchase options up to 620 acres, which is great. The site is well suited for HPC applications given its large scale potential, power capacity, sizable acreage, availability of diverse fiber paths, and dual interconnection capability. So that's awesome there. Third quarter growth opportunities, obviously, we talked about that, a lot of it already. Let's see, total pro forma megawatt mix, operating and contracted gross capacity. 33% is mining, 67% is for AI HPC, 810 megawatts there of the total that they have currently. And then here's their energy portfolio overview going forward here. They got obviously 56 energized pipeline capacity timeline, 2026, 27, 2028, 29. Obviously, then they got another 500 megawatts beyond 2028 and 29 as well in that. So a lot of stuff happening here. Barber Lake, 300 megawatts, 587 acres. We got a Barber Lake site there. Drawing plans of how it's going to be built out. You got obviously also Odessa, Black Pearl, Alvarez, Bear and Chief. 9% of their BTC production there. Those are smaller sites overall. And development pipeline here, you got Stingray, which is 100 megawatt, 250 acres. You also have Reveal, which is 70 megawatts. Mikeska, which is 500 megawatts. Millicing, 500 megawatts. McLennan, 500 megawatts. Cochise, 1,000 megawatts there. That's a lot of pipeline happening for them. All right, financial update. We'll get into that here when we look at Cipher on their report here. Let me see if I updated the share amount here. I think that was for Q2. I got to update that to Q3 numbers there. This is where we're at right now. All right, so overall, 395 million shares outstanding. Not much as far as dilution happening in the Q3, which is good to see. Market cap is now approximately $9 billion for them as it is right now. Performance over the last 12 weeks has been fantastic. Last week, obviously, a lot of miners got beat up yet last week, but Bitcoin coming down here, and the market's going down a little bit as well. But overall, from 12 weeks ago, they're up 258%. From 12 weeks ago, they're up 72%. And then from 4 weeks ago, they're up 10% roughly. And then last week, they were down 10%. So the last 4 weeks have been kind of flat, more or less. Bitcoin mining, obviously, they're at about 22 exahash right now as it is. I think they're kind of fully installed on that. Megawatts, currently 507 I have them at. With the addition of the 300, that gets them to about 800 some, right? And then megawatt pipelines is at 3.2 gigawatts there for them right now as it is. They do have, excuse me, still have a huddle of about 1,500 Bitcoin there. That's valued about 160 million. They got obviously plenty of cash here going forward. I think they will probably do a convertible note or something like that to help build out the data centers that they need for Amazon there. Okay, going down here, last 4 quarters of revenue. Those have been increasing here. This current quarter that we're in, which is Q4, is estimated, right? Bitcoin price could go up and they could actually generate more on Bitcoin side of things here, but more or less this is kind of where we are at. Also, we saw here the estimated revenue annual run rate, which is about 1 billion, roughly 9.75 billion there. 975 million there. Currently for them, this includes Bitcoin mining and the HPCI side of business here for them going forward as well. Last 4 quarters operating costs minus depreciation, those rose up a little bit here to 34.9 million from 24.4. Those were decreasing there. Those obviously jumped up here, but they also installed more machines here in the last quarter, which is nice to see. Cost to mine 1 Bitcoin minus depreciation has been increasing. That is a result of Bitcoin network hash rate increasing, difficulty increasing as well, right? It's gonna cost you more with the same machines there to mine it. Bitcoin mine quarterly, that was a nice increase there to 633 as well. Debt to equity, lower is better. We're at 2.6 right now. I think it's mostly because of the convertible notes and things like that. Current ratio, higher is better. Let's come down to 2.4, still really good, so I'm not too really worried about that. Total current assets, 1.4 billion there. Total current liabilities, 570 million there. Obviously a big jump from where we were at 52 million the prior quarter on that. Okay, so there's that part of it. Going down here, as far as the quarterly results here, we'll get into some of these metrics here in a second. Current cash and current assets actually went up to 1.5 billion. That's huge here for them. That was obviously at 219 million, so that's a huge increase there. They got 1.2 billion in cash and cash equivalents now. Total assets is at 2.8 billion, also another huge increase from the 1 billion there that they had. Total current liabilities went up to 570 million from 52. And then total liabilities is 2 billion there. A large portion of that is long-term borrowing net, which I believe is part of that convertible notes. And derivative liability went up to 414 million. So that gets us to that. Overall, total liabilities and stockholder equity is at 2.8 billion. Revenues, 71 million here for Bitcoin mining. In time, we'll start getting, obviously, the revenues from HPCI business for the co-location things. We'll start plugging that in as well as we get it. See if there's anything major that happened here. Cost of revenue, definitely a huge increase there for Q3, 26 million instead of 15.3 million. Compensation benefits actually went down, which is kind of nice to see. Went down to 14.4 from 15.6. General administrative also went down to 8.1 from 9, so that's nice to see that. Depreciation went up to 59. That's pretty much a given as they installed more machines. Change fair value went down to 9 million. What else do we have? Power sales was only 2 million. Realized gain on sale of cryptocurrencies was 7 million. And I think that's it here. out of all those things here. So overall, cost of revenue minus depreciation. Cost of revenue was 37 million, which is down from the 45 million that we had the prior quarter, which was good. All right, down here, other income. Nothing major here that I saw. Change in fair value of warrant liabilities. There was 31 million there, looks like. And loss before taxes was negative 3.5 million. Total net gain loss was 3.2 million there. So they lost a penny per share. And that's pretty close to where I had them at as well. I had them between negative 3 cents and like a positive, I think 8 cents or something like that. So it's kind of in between my numbers there. All right, going up here. We talked about all of the stuff already. Current ratio book, current ratio, we talked about that. Book value of equity is 783. Price to ratio is 11.482. Enterprise value, 9.6 billion there. EBITDA is 21 million. EV to EBITDA is 441. Debt to EBITDA is 93.4. Stock-based compensation was 9 million there roughly. So that's only 12.7% of the total revenue, which is much better than they were prior quarter, 24. I mean, they were much higher here as well, going way back to like last year. And then as far as general administrative compensation to revenue, that is still kind of high, but it's coming down. 31% compared to 56% for the prior quarter. Love to see that get down to less than 10%. I think we will get there sometime next year as they start generating more revenue from HPC AI business as well. Okay. And then let me see here. Let's see if we take out minus stock-based compensation, it was only 18.8%. So it's getting better. I like the path they're on. That's looking much better for me. Shares, we only increased shares by 0.46%. So not a lot of dilution here happening in Cipher, which is really, really nice to see. Now, overall, based on all those things that we have right now, where do I see them at? Well, based on the information that we have here, I have them between $24.65 to $36.97. They are at $22.76, so I do think that they are still undervalued for that. And if they continue to build out data centers for other customers, whether it's going to be Meta, for Oracle, for Amazon, for Microsoft, for Google, whoever it might be, that obviously is going to change that equation going forward as well. But right now, I'd still see them as being slightly undervalued for where they probably really should be here going forward. All right, so we have the HPC AI business here for the annual run rate at 666 million. For that, BTC annual run rate is about 307 million right now. So as long as Bitcoin stays in this range, more or less, it goes up a little bit for us. We should stay in this kind of range. But yeah, overall, this is how it looks right now for them. All right, so there's that. And then let me pull in Kango. We'll go over Kango really quick as well. We can just go over my sheet here because there's not much that was reported in there other than just the figures for them. So let's get into Kango here really quick. Kango, like I said, provided their operations update for October. Here's what we have right now for them. Their performance over the last 12 weeks has not been great. You can see all right across the board here. They're down 16% from 12 weeks ago, down 12% from 8, the 7% down from 4 weeks ago, and then last week they were down about 5% there. Their current market cap is about 660 million. Their HODL has increased to 6,413, which is valued about 687 million there. And that's actually less than their market cap right now, that's the problem you get with being asset light. And that's exactly what they are. They are asset light. They own maybe about 50 to 80 megawatts of their infrastructure. The rest is all hosted. They don't own anything else outside of that. So that's the result. That's unfortunately the problem with being asset light on it. So HODL market cap is 103.99% of them right now as it is. Okay, so maybe they'll get a little bounce here coming up here. I'm not sure, but they mined 606 Bitcoin here in the past month of October. They're down 10.4 Bitcoin from the prior month, and it has been coming down. Their hash rate has been steady at 50 exahash here over the last 4 months. Bitcoin network hash rate increasing, difficulty increasing as well. That's going to result in less and less Bitcoin being generated there as Bitcoin network hash rate continues to grow. Revenue also has come down here to 69.25 million. Still really good though overall. Bitcoin HODL has continued to increase, right? 6,413 there. They sold about like 3 and a partial there Bitcoin, it seems like, based on the numbers that I have here for them. Like I said, hash rate has been flat for them, 50 exahash here. We don't know if they're going to be growing any further than that. BTC per exahash, 12.1 there. And then going down here to the numbers, and we'll actually look at the institutions here. Institutions increased to 61. Shares also increased to 31.8 million for the institutions, and that's now 22.72% owned by institutions. We still only have the 1 buy rating for them with price targets of $8.02 across the board there on it. That's kind of in line where I have them more or less. For the month here, we had them operating for October, approximately 28.15 days, which is actually pretty good overall. On that one, pretty efficient as far as mining is concerned. And then going over here, see, I need to delete that one. There we go. That bumps us back up here. overall for, let's see, do I have this against October? I do. Okay, so based on the October run rate here, multiplying times, moving that goalpost forward the next 12 months here, where could they possibly be generating? Well, they could be generating about 831 million in revenue potentially. Roughly, if Bitcoin just stays more or less the same or goes up in price a little bit or stays at least at the same pace as the network hash rate percentage-wise, this is what they would be generating here. And as you can see here, I'm at 15% net income and 25% net income, whereas some of the other miners I'm at 50 and 75% because they are so asset light. They do pay a higher price for hosting all their machines. But even at P of 8 here, I'm between 563 and 938. One analyst has between 802. I think that would be a pretty fair value, right? I mean, right now, they're not even being valued what they have as far as on their books for Bitcoin HODL right now. So I think that would be pretty fair. They're currently at 373. So that's kind of where I would see them more or less at this point right now. So I do think that they are undervalued currently based on it. But I think it's because they're asset light. That's the biggest thing for them. Plus, they're Chinese based. I think that might be part of it also on them. Okay. So there's that on Kango. They got to buy more sites. They got to buy more infrastructure, I think, going forward. But all right, I'll leave it at that. Next year, let's get into Iren here really quick as well. We do have some Hive news as well on that. All right, so Iren secures 9.7 billion AI cloud contract with Microsoft here. This is great. I like seeing this. I was hoping that they would do, if they're going to do anything like this, that this would be something that they would do, right? I wanted them to be a GPU cloud service provider, basically. So today they have announced it has signed a multi-year GPU cloud service contract with Microsoft, right? So it's not a co-location deal. It's basically their GPUs. They get to own them. They get to own the data center sites after 5 years. So this is a really good term here. Under the agreement, Iren will provide Microsoft with access to NVIDIA GB300 GPUs over a 5-year term with a total contract value of approximately 9.7 billion, including 20% prepayment. So that's roughly, you could say 2.3 billion or something like that, 2.2 billion, 2.3 billion that they're getting to basically help build out the data center there, which they're going to obviously need for that. Iren has also entered into an agreement with Dell Technologies to purchase GPUs and ancillary equipment for approximately 5.8 billion. Okay. So if you think about it, what the cost is going to be overall, 5.8 billion to buy the equipment for the GPUs and things like that, to build out the data center. I'm not sure what the cost is going to be on that, whether it's going to be 8 million per megawatt or is it going to be 12 million per megawatt. I'm not sure. But they're obviously offering quite a bit there, right? 200 megawatts of critical IT load. So the GPUs are expected to be deployed in phases through 2026 at Iren's 750 megawatt Childress, Texas campus in conjunction with the delivery of new liquid-cooled data centers that will collectively support 200 megawatts of critical IT load at Horizon there, Horizon 1 and 4. Iren expects to fund the capital expenditures associated with the contract through a combination of existing cash, customer prepayment, operating cash flow, and additional financing initiatives, right? So they do have, obviously, cash flows coming in from Bitcoin mining, from their GPUs that they're also installing for their own customers there, right? Which they're getting to 23,000 GPUs there. All of those things can help fund it. And we might see, I'm not putting it, I think it's going to happen. I just don't know how much. But I think they'll do probably another convertible note, I think. Based on this news here, they might be able to get project financing or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll probably get some more information on when they report their quarterly results here later on this week. On that one, what else do we have here? I think that was it on this. If we look at the presentation here for the deal here, where is it at? There it is. Okay, right. 9.7 billion AI cloud contract with Microsoft for 5 years here. So 20% prepayment, 200 megawatts in data center IT load. What else? Strong margins underpinned by data center ownership. Annual run rate at 1.94 billion there. 85% estimated project EBITDA margin 3. That's, you guys can read all that stuff there. 200 megawatts AI data centers, vertically integrated AI cloud service provider. Iren builds and operates its own data centers, which is great. So after those 5 years, they get to keep those data centers and the GPUs that they can possibly sell to somebody else. Right, put them out in the market there as long as they're still running. And yeah, or they could continue to run them, right? If they have another customer that could use those things in 5 years, potentially, right? Depending on how much we advance in the next chip iterations from NVIDIA and others as well, they could still be usable at that point. But Iren, let's see, execution managed by in-house design, engineering, and construction teams, no third-party co-location costs or counterparty risk, which is also great. They're excelling the construction with design enhancements. So the 4 by 50 megawatt IT load phases at Childress through 2026, Horizon 1 through 4. Estimated all-in CapEx of 14 to 16 million per megawatt. Okay, IT load. I think that's including the, all-in cost, all-in CapEx. I think so. That's including the GPUs there and everything else. So building out the data centers and the GPUs, so that wouldn't actually be too bad, I think. 9 to 11 million data center infrastructure, tier 3 equivalent construction maintainability. Okay, so we're looking at about 9 to 11 million for that. 3 million deployment of 100 megawatt super cluster architecture and flexible rack densities, 130 to 200 kilowatt racks there. And then 2 million in acceleration costs to achieve 26 delivery of full 200 megawatt capacity there. All right, so still overall pretty good here. And then you can see the Horizon 1 and 4 is going to be happening here. Horizon 5 and 10, which is going to be later on, is going to be happening over there as well. On that next phase of growth, obviously they got Microsoft, Together AI, Fluid Stack as well. They got 315 megawatts currently AI cloud expansion, 110 megawatts additional British Columbia capacity, 450 megawatts additional Childress capacity, and 2 gigawatts of Sweetwater capacity, which is going to be obviously in 2026, 27. I believe those are going to be built out there. So great news from them. And based on this information, where are they going to be possibly valued at right now? Where is a good price target for the stock here? Well, let's take a look at that. So based on the information that we do have here on them, right? Dan has said they're looking to be about 3.4 to 3.5 billion. I have them at 3.422 billion here based on Bitcoin mining currently that we have from September, actually, because we don't have any, or I don't even think we have September numbers for them. No, we got August numbers because they stopped reporting it. So if we knew where they were in September, we can kind of estimate as far as where they might be in September here. So if we can look at the numbers here for, let's see here, September, I have them about 72.9 million here roughly, right? I have them at 76 for August. So that would bode well. Network hash rate has increased, difficulty has increased. You would, see a decrease in that. That is if they still have all 50 exahash running and they haven't moved stuff around and maybe disrupted some of that exahash there. So that's based on this. All right, looking at over here, if we plug in the HPCI business run rate of 2.5 billion right now, BTC run rate of 922 million as of August figures here. It's obviously come down here. We could possibly bring that down here to, let's do September, right? We have August here. Let's do September. Where are we at that point? All right, so I still have in between $124 and $186. We've obviously seen price targets of $142. We've seen price targets of $100. This is where I think that they should be kind of fairly valued at, and we've upped this as time has progressed, and they've gotten more contracts in place and things like that. So currently they are at $67. They could still definitely be an easy 2x here from where we are right now. And then if they announce something else, whether it's their own HPCI business going to 60,000 GPUs instead of 23,000, or do they get another deal with somebody else, right? I think there's still a lot of potential here with Iren here. So for all of you that have been patient during the turmoil of last year, I would say the last 12 to 14 months or so, even maybe 16 months, you're being very highly rewarded here right now based on that. If you held on and you've been patient, you didn't get scared out of the market here when we had the dips back in April last year as well, and you actually dollar cost average into these things, you're probably doing really well. Even for those of you guys that have come on board here recently within the last, I would say, 3 to 4 months or something like that, you guys are probably doing very, very well also. And I'm happy to be a part of this, ride here, and I'm going to be holding on probably for a little bit longer, probably for next year or so, just to see where it goes. I will probably take some off the table here as things go up even further on us, but it's going to be small amounts, right? I'm going to take maybe 1%, 2%, 3% at most. I do have some expenses coming up that I will have to take some profits in some of these guys here to cover those things. Taking the family on vacation next year in June. And we're taking actually extended family as well, and I'm actually flipping the bill on it. So I'm going to be needing to fund it somehow. So that's kind of where that's going to be coming from. Also, to finish out the basement here, I may need to take a little bit out for some of the more expensive things like the bathroom and the HVAC and things like that. I may have to do that at that point. So I will take small chunks off at certain points, but it's still going to be a huge, huge portion of my portfolio there for the time being here. And I don't plan on selling a large portion anytime soon. So I'll definitely let you guys know when I do sell a little bit, just to keep you guys abreast of that. But yeah, great news from obviously Iren here. They got their, let's see, when is theirs coming up here? Quarterly results. Iren is going to be the 6th here. So in basically 3 days, right? On Thursday, I think it is, at 5 p.m. Eastern time here. So we'll see what comes of that. I think it's 5 p.m. Eastern time. Usually they do it in the morning here. We have to look at that. I'm not sure if it's 5 or I thought they were doing it earlier in the morning. But it might be 5 because I think 5 o'clock here is like in Australia, it's like 6 o'clock there or something like that. I know the time difference is kind of huge. So that might be the reason why. Okay, but we got obviously still Bitfarms coming up here the 13th, Bitdeer the 10th, TerraWolf the 10th as well. Iren's supposed to be the 6th here. Marathon's coming up tomorrow. So that'll be happening as well. But overall, great news from Iren here. I think the stock's got much more room to run here going forward for us. So patience, right? Patience is the key here. All right, that's it for Iren. A couple other things that we want to talk about here is going to be Hive really quick. Hive is also, kind of getting into full gear into AI here. So Hive Digital Technologies accelerates into AI super cycle by securing prime land for next generation tier 3 AI HPC data centers and surpasses 23 exahash. So that's great news there. They got basically 3 weeks left to get to 25 exahash by Thanksgiving as a US holiday here. So it looks like they're on track for that. Hopefully they can get to that 25 exahash here in the next 3 weeks. So today Hive announced a pivotal milestone in the heart of the AI super cycle, achieving 23 exahash per second in global Bitcoin mining capacity, positioning the company amongst industry leaders in 2025 with 283% year-to-date growth, which is great. And then in tandem, Hive has finalized the acquisition of its additional 32.5 acres in Grand Falls, New Brunswick, adjacent to its existing operations, positioning the site as a cornerstone for the Tier 3 HPC development capable of scaling to over 25,000 next-generation GPUs. So that's great news there. They're going to be building that out. And then we have a little update here as well on the quarterly ATM sales. So for the 3 months period ended in September, the company issued 30 million common shares roughly of the October 2024 ATM shares pursuant to the at-the-market offering commenced in October 2024 and continued in May 2025. The gross proceeds was 73.1 million there. Okay, so I'm not sure if they used it all up there or not, and how much do they have left there. I'm trying to see if there's anything on that. I don't see it in there anywhere else. So this is also great news, right? They're definitely going into that HPC space, but they're looking to do more things in Europe and in Canada as well, which I think we're obviously not seeing much happening there, at least right now. So I think that might be actually good for them going forward here. Might have a little bit less competition in that space than we do have here in the United States, at least. Okay, so that's it for Hive here. That's it with everything else we've cut up here with everybody else. Let's get into Q&A here, see what you guys have to say on any of this stuff. So as always, be patient. Oh, one other thing. A couple updates here on the spreadsheet. We didn't have a chance to go over this. Maybe we'll do it now. Why not? I mean, we're going long as it is right now. Might as well keep it going. I did do the FSB update on the miners here, right? I have, really quickly, we'll just go through this. So I looked at the July numbers, August numbers, and September numbers for the guys here. For the miners that have a HODL position here at least, Bitdeer is going to get about 9.9 million, I'm guessing, estimating right there. Cipher about 7 million, which is what I believe came in at roughly for them as well. Hive about 4 million, Cleanspark about 86 million, Riot 132 million, and Marathon's going to get a 341 bump on that for the month, for the third quarter there, okay? So I use those numbers then to look at their earnings per share potential. And I'm not going to go through this too deep here, but this kind of gives you guys an idea here. I use the quarterly results for Q2, extrapolate the data into Q3 based on megawatts, things like that, cost overall. These are estimates. These could be off. Obviously, they're kind of like a low range and a high range a little bit here. But here's kind of what we're looking at here. So Iren, I'm right now between 4 cents and 28 cents, somewhere between there. I'm not sure exactly where they're going to come in at. Cleanspark between 32 cents and 66 cents, depending on how much depreciation and things like that they put in, right? And the costs. If the costs are low, they might be able to reach that. There maybe. We've said that for a couple of times here, but depreciation and the stock-based compensation always kind of like drags things down for us. So we're kind of, that might be even on the high end here for them as well. Cipher, right, came in at negative 1 cent. I had them between negative 3 cents and 9 cents there. So they came in on the lower end side of things. Bitdeer, negative 14 cents to negative 6 cents. Riot from 10 cents to 33 cents. Marathon, we got it from 60 cents to $1.03. And Hive, I have them negative 26 cents to negative 15 cents, somewhere around there. Okay, so that sheet has been updated as well with all the data that we do have on these guys, at least right now. Iren, like I said, Iren, I don't have data for them for September. So that's why their numbers might be off a little bit as well. on that side of things here. So they might be actually coming in higher than that. But I think somewhere around there, they should be around there. All right, so there's that part of it. What else? CORZ. CORZ information has been also added in here since they are sticking around here. It seems like they're not going to be absorbed by CoreWeave. So I did fill in all the information here for the quarterly results on them for Q3, which they reported last week. That has been updated as well for all the Patreon members there, along with all of the data down here. So that's been done. So today was a busy day for me. Got a lot done, and yesterday I got a lot done as well. Getting stuff done for you guys here. So that's all updated. I'll send this out to the Patreon members tomorrow. If you want to join there, the link for that is down in the description. As always, a couple bucks a month here, and you help support what I do. All right, let's get into Q&A here. So busy, packed show today with a lot of great news, except for Bitcoin going down. Other than that, it was actually really good here. So as always, if you could preface the questions with a question mark or a Q, I would appreciate it. I'm going to scroll up and work my way down as always. Be patient and we'll get to all your questions here and we'll go through it all. All right. Let's start with here. Neville, Bitfarms has the locations, the right strategic partner, the infrastructure, the gigawatts, etc. It may be too expensive for a fellow peer miner to buy, but not too expensive for hyperscaler. That is true. That is a possibility. That's one of the things I was thinking would happen last year. When we were talking about HPC-AI and things like that, I was thinking, some of these hyperscalers, Google and Microsoft, Amazon, they may be better off just buying these guys out. But we're not seeing that. So it's actually playing out better to our advantage, I think, than if they were just being bought out here. But we'll see. Neville says Bitfarms is a lottery ticket. It could be very well. Yeah, a lot of these guys have been lottery tickets here. I mean, they're definitely life-changing gains on a lot of these things that we've seen here in the last 4 months or so. Excuse me, my throat's starting to get dry. I guess you can probably hear it. Rob says, I got more shares of Bitfarms and Hive today. Them are going to be the next winners. I hope they do great for you. I really do. Right? We've seen them struggle a little bit here being Canadian. I think Hive has a little bit more challenge than Bitfarms does. Bitfarms has operations in the United States. Hive does not. Kaz says, seeing what happened to Iren this morning, I'm confident Bitfarms will be $10 stock instantly when they announce any deal. It could very well happen, yeah, for them. Let's see here. Enhut, should we take profit now for Iren and Cipher? I do believe we have all good news in this year already, but Bitcoin down and drag all go up effort, and Bitcoin is continuing downtrend, really nervous. I think the miners have decoupled from that, especially since some of these guys are going to be generating a heck of a lot more revenue than they are generating from Bitcoin mining, right? And they also have more megawatts to go. It'd be one thing if they were like tapped out for megawatts and that was it. I'd be like, yeah, probably time to sell, right? We're not going to get anything else. But seeing that, Cipher's got to 3.2 gigawatts of capacity going forward. Iren's got 3 gigawatts. Others have right around there as well. I think there's a lot more juice to be squeezed out of these things here going forward. So that's why I'm holding tight here, at least right now. If you're up nicely, does it make sense to take profits? Then take profits, right? There's no shame in taking profits. You always lock those things in. And wherever things go after that, right? We could have a black swan event, whatever it might be, and things crash on us again, right? And it takes us another, 6 to 12 months to rebound from that. That's a possibility also. So that's going to be up to you. John says, Cipher CEO gave a tremendous interview today on CNBC Power Hour. This is massive worldwide exposure. Today was historic for miners. It was indeed. Today was a great day. Mortem, did you see the speculation that Iren will announce NVIDIA taking an ownership position in the company? Alfred said this week would melt faces. I saw that as well. I don't know how much, obviously we don't know how much, if that's going to happen or if there's any truth to it. But we've seen, obviously, NVIDIA take positions in other companies as well. So we'll see. I mean, it's not out of the question that couldn't happen. And that might be actually what actually funds the build out there potentially. Maybe, right? Depending on the amount of position that they could take. Guy, why Cleanspark price went so low? Also, any hope for Bitcoin to make all-time high this year? I think there is. I think we're being highly manipulated right now with the price. I mean, price is still above 100,000 here, so that's still pretty good here. We've been holding there for a long time. So I'm not too worried about that. To be honest with you guys, I was kind of thinking this is going to happen here. I've talked about it in the past as well, that going forward, we're going to see lower percentage gains in Bitcoin, but still higher values in it. It's not going to be the same as prior cycles where we had huge, moves up within a number of months where we were up 500% or something like that. We're seeing much slower growth in Bitcoin here. And just, it is what it is on it. And yeah, I think we'll still reach an all-time high later on this year. Whether we saw, what was it? Gosh, what's the gentleman's name? I'm drawing a blank on it. Tom Lee. Tom Lee came out today that he still thinks Bitcoin's going to get to 200,000. I think maybe that's a little bit over optimistic here. I think we could get to between, I would say, 135 to 150. If we go above that, I would be extremely happy if that happens. But if we get to 150, I would be extremely happy as well. All right. Let's see here. Guy says, I am sleepy, and was about to go to bed. Told my son that I'm asleep, but he said he will keep watching you. LOL. He really likes you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Tell him I said hi. Let's see. The next big pump is coming, just like I said. No quantitative easing along with TGA getting refilled equals liquidity boom. That is happening. Yeah, we're seeing that. Chillaxing. I bought more Iren today because a lot of analysts had a price target of $100 before the news this morning. Imagine what the new price targets will be once they get more deals. Yeah, I know, right? I'm saying I think even the $100 is a little low. Victor's got a question here. Question: possible Bitfarms deal before end of year. What are your thoughts? Depending on the size of the deal, I think they could get a smaller deal. Yes, larger deal. A little harder. I think the timeline for that would be probably in late 2026, 2027 potentially for them. Well, I mean, they still could get it. They have a nice site in Pennsylvania, 2 sites actually, or 3, that they could utilize for that. So it'll be interesting. I'd love to see it, to be sure. I have a bunch of shares in Bitfarms as well, so I definitely would love to see it here. So it would be a nice surprise for the end of the year if they do get a deal, but I'm not sure. I think they're still in the early stages there. I think they still have to prove themselves out, right? We've seen, obviously, at least Iren has proved themselves out for having, their own customers and things like that. Cipher has the megawatts. I think that's the main reason why they got it. But they also have a lot of people that have been in data center space and other things like that. So they have the team there to do it. Bitfarms is getting the team there also. They're building out the team, which is nice. It could happen. You just never know. Let's see. Dan says, go Cleanspark short squeeze. Let's moon this poop, guys. Love you all. Love you too. Karan, average of Cipher, 1915, sold 80,000 stocks at 24. Very happy. Awesome. Very nice. You're up nicely then. Karan then bought Cleanspark 60, am I reading that right? 60,000 shares at 1778. Awesome. That is a good price. Let's see here. Rob, question. Help me understand how these Bitcoin miners are allocating the GPUs for Bitcoin mining and this new AI HPC data center. Are the GPUs multitasking? No, they're not multitasking. The GPU, those are 2 separate things. Bitcoin mining is ASICs. GPUs are obviously graphics processing units. Those are 2 different things, and they can't do both, but they can obviously use the same electricity. So if you have the megawatts, you can do both. You can be mining Bitcoin and you can be doing GPUs as well. Okay. All right. Victor says, hey, Karan, I plan to buy Bitfarms 50% and 50% Bitfarms. Okay. Nice. Rob, question. So if all of the Bitcoin miners transition to new business, i.e. AI HPC data centers, who or what companies are going to remain as dedicated Bitcoin mining companies? There's still going to be quite a few of them, I think. There's not all sites are going to be used up for HPC, I don't think, right now. So I think some of these guys will still do it, and there's going to be other companies that do it, right? If these guys get out of it, other companies will form to do it because there's going to be less hash rate going into it. So I think there's going to be companies doing it one way or another here. I could still see Cleanspark doing it. I could see, BitDeer still doing it. Who else? Hive doing it. Bitfarms seems like they want to get out of it completely and go into the cloud data center business side of things. We'll keep an eye on it, see what happens there. But I think some of these guys will still do it. I don't think it's all going to be going away here. And plus, remember that Bitcoin mining is a great load balance on the grid for a lot of these guys here, that they can turn that off and still have power going into the AI side of things here. So that's going to be interesting to see how that's going to play out. But I think there's going to be still quite a few of these guys here. Let's see. Angie says, AI hijacked Bitcoin hype train this cycle. That could be it also. You could be right there. I thought it was more on the institution side of things that just we have more institutions into it. They're going to control it more. All right. Aiden, question. Has CoreWeave acquired CoRZ? No. That deal fell through. The shareholders voted against it, so that's not coming through there. All right. Dan says, I'm drunk. I have 8,000 shares of Cleanspark. I love you all. Love you too. Okay. Well, lay off the alcohol a little bit there. Rob, where do you see shares price for Hive and Bitfarms in December, January? I don't know where they're going to be exactly in those months here, but I do think they should be at least higher from where they are right now. Right, Bitfarms, if we look at Bitfarms, where's my Bitfarms here? Bitfarms is over here. I have Bitfarms right now. Let's take a look at it. Based on the information that we do have here, I have in between 310 and 464. They're at 411, right? But this is based on a little bit older data here. We're waiting on them to report Q3 numbers. Once we have that, we can see kind of where they might be valued at. And this is just on Bitcoin mining side of things here. We're not even talking about the HPCI potential or anything like that here for them. Hive, on the other hand here, we do have data obviously for them that they report monthly here, so we do have data on them. And I have in between 934 and 1402, right there at 538. I do think that they're still tremendously undervalued from where they probably should be on just Bitcoin mining, and then if they include also onto it any revenue from HPCI as well that they get forward, which they are generating a little bit right now. I think they're generating like 1 million to like 2 million a month right now as it is. So if they can build that out, we can definitely generate more that time. Okay, what else we got here? All right, get some here. Why is Bitfarms price still low? Are they profitable yet? Bitcoin mining side of things, I think, I don't know if they're going to be able to squeak out a positive EPS on the quarterly results. Depends on what they put in for depreciation, stock-based compensation. That will greatly depend on that. It might be close though. We'll have to see what they come in at on that side of things here. Tom, a question. Joining late, Seb, the Iren and Cipher deals are great for these stocks, and it puts more pressure on the likes of Hut 8, etc., to get a big deal done also. It does, yeah, it does definitely put more pressure on, but it also lifts them up as well in the process. Perfecto. Question. Have you decided where you're going to go for the family vacation? Yeah, we're going down to the Dominican. We did Mexico last year, or this year, actually. We're going down to the Dominican. We're actually taking my mother-in-law, father-in-law as well. They're from Europe, so they're coming here for my son's communion, and then we're going to take them for a vacation, Dominican, as long as I'm also going to take my nephew along with us as well. So that should be fun. That'll be happening in June sometime. Definitely looking forward to that. Okay, Dad's Marcus says, remember when we are wondering what to rotate into during the bear cycle for BTC? Well, yeah, I don't know if we're going to be rotating to anything other than what we have right now. This stuff, as long as the train that keeps rolling, right, we're going to be on that train for at least a little bit longer here, I think, for at least a year, possibly. Kung Fu Practitioner, appreciate you, Seb. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys as well for coming in here, especially this late of an hour. We're almost at 10:33 here. 10:33? 10:33. Okay. Shinchi, question. Wow, nice to hear you're treating the family to a vacay. Congratulations on your millionaire status and your family. Hopefully I make it too. Thanks for everything to Seb and the community. Greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. And yeah, right. That Seb is rich. No, I'm not rich. I'm rich on paper right now. I haven't taken any profits. So all of that rich could go burn. Right. So don't count your, what do they say? Don't count your chickens before they're hatched or something like that. Right. Right. I might be rich on paper, but that's it. So like I said, I may have to take some profits from these things to fund all that stuff because I don't have that kind of money. But yeah, it's nice to be able to treat the family to a vacation and spend time with them. All right. Savi June, question. Which miners are likely to strike deals next? Riot, Cleanspark, BitDeer seem to have lots of power that could enable a deal near term. Riot, I mean, Riot is, they're building out right data centers right now that are progressing forward. They could definitely get a deal here. Cleanspark is still a little bit behind everybody else, but they're definitely making progress there. They could announce possibly something, I think, within the next 6 months or so. BitDeer has a lot of megawatts also, a lot of potential. I don't know who's going to be able to announce it first. I mean, you just never know with these things. We could get surprised. Angie says, congratulations, Seb. Well deserved. Thank you for that. Chillaxing, do you think Iren will reach 100 before end of year? I do think we might get there by the end of the year, based on just what we're seeing here now, and depending what they actually announce at their quarterly results, right? How bullish is Dan? I mean, obviously we can hear him in some of the press conferences that he does and things like that. He's definitely bullish on the space. A lot of us are bullish on the space. So I think it is possible for it to get there by the end of the year, but markets have to cooperate. No red swan events or black swan events in AI or anything like that that would derail this. Yeah, I do think it's possible. All right. Shinchi, question. Iren refused to sell out to hyperscales. CORZ Iren is eyeing to become like a big hyperscaler, the first to own full stack. Other hyperscalers and Oracle do not want to operate data centers that are opportune. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, they want to own the full stack there, which I think is the right way to go. JJ, question. Does Hive have any potential patterning deals? If so, do you believe Bitfarms or Hive have a better chance of a deal? Hive is working with Bell Canada, right, for a sovereign AI data centers there with Canadian government. So they're working on that. They're partnering for that. I don't think that any kind of deal has been announced yet as far as revenue or anything like that on them. As far as which one could get it first, Bitfarms, that I don't know, to be honest with you. I wish I knew. I'm in Bitfarms, obviously, because I think, well, Bitfarms has sites in the United States. I think that might be a plus there. Time will tell. I don't know. That's why I'm in it, right? So sometimes you have to make a educated guess as far as where things might go. And Bitfarms looks like the one that might, at least to me right now, with having sites in the United States, might be the one to go with. But I could be wrong on that. Sorry, Mountain. Bitcoin is no longer that profitable, so everyone's dipping out. That could be it also, right? I mean, because this year has not been great for Bitcoin. It's up year to date. What is it up? 16, 17%? I can't remember now. I haven't looked at it in a while. But yeah, it's, people are just maybe rotating out of Bitcoin into the AI stocks because the AI stocks are killing it this year when we would have expected Bitcoin to be doing that. So maybe that's part of it. Sadie, thank you so much as always for the thumbs up and the likes there. Mr. X question, can Mara make a comeback? It seems to be the most beat down miner this last 1 year. That is a good question. I don't know, right? They've never had great operations when it comes to Bitcoin mining, right? They were asset light. They got a little bit more asset heavy within the last year and a half or so. And then they've been getting into all these other things that they've been doing, right? The two-phase immersion cooling. They got into heating homes in Europe, right? I believe through a project there. They created their own motherboards for the ASICs as well. It's just like they're getting into all these other things where they should be just concentrating on great operations, continuing to get more megawatts under contract and things like that. If they can focus, I think they could possibly do much better here, but they need to focus, in my opinion, at least. All right, SH, is your Bitfarms price forecast includes the $1 billion in cash that Bitfarms has as of now? No, it does not. Cash is completely different, right? We look at revenues and things like that. Cash, I don't count that in right now as it is. And anyways, they're valued pretty well right now as it is. What is it, $2 billion? Let me see, Bitfarms, where are they valued at right now as it is? $2.2 billion, yeah. So on that alone, it's not too bad. All right. Let's see, Roger, question. I may have missed it, but what's your targets for Cipher and Iren? Okay, we'll go over that really quick right now as well. We'll look at Cipher here. Cipher right now, here they are one last time. Where am I at here? I want to go here. All right, Cipher, somewhere between 24.65 and 36.97 is where I think they should be kind of fairly valued at that point, right? They got pretty close to it today on the low end, but I think they still could definitely go up higher. At that point, maybe in the middle, somewhere around maybe $30 or something like that. I think that would be kind of a fair value for them right now. Now, given if they get another deal or something like that, price is going to go up from there. Iren right now, based on their annual run rate here going forward, I have them between $124 and $186. We got obviously a price target update from, I think it was Cantor, $142 or $146 for them. That's kind of in line with mine. Others have obviously come up to $100 now as well. So definitely more room to run here for Iren as well going forward here. And then if they build out their own HPC AI cloud, get more GPUs installed from the 23,000 they're going to plan on having by the end of the year to like 60,000 sometime later on this year or next year actually, then that stock could obviously go up even more based on that revenue increase there as well. Okay, so yeah, who would have thought we would have been talking $124 a year ago on Iren? I was thinking if we could get to $40, $50 an Iren, we'd be set. Now we're talking about in the hundreds of dollars. It's crazy how things can change in a short period of time, as far as the valuations can go, and depending on what the companies do here. So love the ride that we've been on here. It has been easy, but it's definitely being very well rewarded here recently. All right, that's it on that one. Let's see what else we have as far as questions here. Let me see. Did it go? I went there. Okay, let's see. What else do I have here? All right, I think that's it. I've caught up to all you guys' questions here, it looks like. At least right now. Yeah, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. I think, who's reporting tomorrow? Mara's reporting tomorrow. Let's see, we got 2 more things coming in here really quick, and we'll call it a day. Roger also asks, is Cleanspark dead? No. They're just a little late to the party for AI. They're getting into it, right? They were a little late to Bitcoin mining, but they also did very great at that. So I don't see anything wrong with that right now. They'll still do great in the next, I think, 6 to 12 months. All right. Marcus, the miners told us there is another leg up in BTC. I think there's some more to go for Bitcoin as well. Sermon said people gave you crap for those 40, 50. Yeah, they did. Oh, I know. I remember that. That was, but that was based on Bitcoin itself going up to 150, 200,000, right? Bitcoin's kind of flat, unfortunately, but we are definitely getting a re-rating on the megawatts that they have potential. So we'll take it one way or another. Roger's got a waving hand here, pink hand. Tom says thanks. Thank you, Tom, as well for coming in. And yeah, we'll call it a day here. So today was a great day overall. It could have been better with Bitcoin actually cooperating with us here, but we got at least green on a lot of these guys here and a nice green on some of these guys. And then we have more, obviously, quarterly results coming up here. Mars tomorrow, Iren later on this week as well. We'll cover all that. We should also be getting in production updates for all these miners here coming up this week. So we'll have a lot to talk about and a lot to go over at that point as well. All right, that is it. Thank you, as always. Love you all. Hope you guys have a great night or a great morning, depending where you are at, and a great week ahead. Hopefully this continues to run up for us here. So, all right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great one. Bye.